Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3, and we are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for True Heel Heats A&E Biography Booker T review. We're gonna break down everything that went down on the latest A&E biography, highlighting the life and career of the five-time WCW champion, 6-time heavyweight champion of the world, 11-time tag team champion, Booker T. I am here not with the connoisseur of reporting, Mr. Romeo Anthony Colon. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us on this one, but I am live with the man of 1,004 numbers. He's been doing a lot with me lately. You saw him on True Hill 124. You saw him on the New Japan Pro Wrestling Duntaku Roundtable Review. He is the host of Dark Power, the co-host of Fusion of Honor, the StatKing.
What's going on, guys? Great to be with you this early morning. Talk about somebody who has definitely had a Hall of Fame career. If there's somebody who's earned that ring and earned that spot in history, it's definitely Booker T.
Absolutely. I have to agree with you. And we are joined by a very, very special guest, a friend of True Heel Heat. He is an admin on our True Heels Facebook group page. He's joined us in the past on True Heel Heat. He joined us on our year-end awards where we break down everything that happened in 2020. And he's back with us on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. It says there he's Satan's favorite demon. I like to call him the devil's favorite heel. He is the one, the only, Kelvin.
What's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
Glad to see you here with us, and you're out with the best scenery out of all three of us. I have to give you that.
I actually love it. You might hear a couple birds chirping, but this weather, I love it.
Lovely out there in North Kakalaki. But yes, if you're watching us live on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, drop your comments, drop your thoughts on the A&E biography, Booker T. Let us know what you thought about this episode. Let us know what you thought about the career of Booker T, where he lands in your favorite wrestlers of all time, and we're going to get into it. But before we get into it, this is a quick reminder to everyone watching. If you're watching on YouTube, drop us a like. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button. Be a part of the over 1,000 subscribers to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. Hit the bell to always stay notified for all the great content right here. If you're watching us on Facebook or Twitter, drop us a like. If you're watching on Facebook, drop us a heart emoji, a laugh emoji, an angry emoji. However you felt about the A&E biography, Booker T, let us know with that engagement, with that expression. Tag a friend if you like them to watch along with us, because we're going to talk about a lot. So first of all, I do want to go around the round table here and ask Kelvin one word to describe how you felt about the A&E biography on Booker T.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. StatKing, how about you?
Educational.
Educational, I would have to agree. I would say inspiring. This was someone that I wasn't too sure about this A&E biography because we haven't seen a lot on Booker T from WWE, but I did get a lot from this. So we're going to start at the start of this episode. We see Booker T walking the streets of New York. There are heavy shades of Shaft, which makes sense because Booker T says he grew up wanting to be Shaft. He watched it 100 times by his estimation, and we found out that he was the spiritual predecessor to his signature catchphrase, "Can you dig it, sucker?" So Isaac Hayes, we appreciate you out there. Booker walks us around South Park, Texas, where he grew up, briefing us on his upbringing, having lost his father at 10 months old, moving around a lot, all with his mother working through the night. There are 4 girls and 4 boys in his family, but by the time they moved to Houston, some had grown up and moved on. Booker's sister Benita is actually with us as one of the talking heads on this episode. She recalls those times with Lash, aka Stevie Ray, at age of 16, Booker at age of 10, and herself at age of 13, basically 3 years apart from one another. We also get a heavy hint of the future of the two brothers as Bonita talks about Lash and Booker were setting up rings in the backyard out of old mattresses, but everything changed with his mother's fall through the attic ceiling while trying to repair a ventilation fan. They talked about the relationship that Booker had with his mother, being like the mama's boy, the youngest of the family. Really, his mother always, coming to his aid. She suffered a chronic injury with this fall from the attic, and complications led to her early death at age of 49 years old when Booker T was only 13 years old. So what did you guys think about this early portion, talking about his family upbringing, losing his father at 10 months old, and then losing his mother, Caroline, at such a young age? Let's start with you, Kelvin.
First of all, I just took a shot for his mom, because to lose your mom at 40, at 13, and she's just 49 years old, that's rough. I can't say that I know what it's like, but I can imagine that would be rough. And just to be left with your brothers and sisters, and you guys are just all kids trying to raise each other, I could see that being tough. He still somehow managed to overcome that. He still somehow managed to, even though him getting in trouble, it was, he got in trouble. But he was, I think that for him I think for you to go through what you went through at that age and time, and for him to overcome it and be the person that he was and now is today, I commend him.
He definitely deserves some praise for being able to overcome all of that at such a young age. StatKing, what was your thoughts on the upbringing of Booker and then this tragic loss of his mother at a young age?
I think that the loss of his mom, while absolutely horrible, is mitigated by the example that she was for them. Her ability to, why that fall happened was because she's trying to take care of things and not need anybody else. Rely on yourself and rely on your family, lean on your family. And that's really what got them through it after she passed away. You can tell even from the beginning that family is something that's incredibly important to Booker. And you see that, he's teaming with his actual brother down the road. So that is something that has always been a hallmark of Booker T. And you can see why almost from day one.
Absolutely. The building blocks came early. We got a couple of comments that we can get through already. People joining us live early here on YouTube, Facebook. We got my good brother, John Scott from the UK out here watching us live. Thank you for joining us, John. We got famous people in the live chat. We got Adam Pearson with us today. He says SP3 baby. He's with us. Thank you for joining us live, Adam. We got Brett Thomas, one of the heels of the comment section. He says, "Hi guys, hi SP3. Update on Jake Paul after his altercation with Lloyd. He's doing okay. Yes, got your hat. One of the funniest things I've seen all week." We got Rambo 77.619. He says, "Looking forward to seeing SP3 on Powered Forward on Wednesday." He says, we also got Adam talking about the early portion of Booker T's life. He says that early life stuff was super heartbreaking. I couldn't imagine losing Mommy P at a young age. Just goes to show how important and resilient perseverance are as a human quality. And that is certainly true. And certainly I definitely felt a connection with Booker T immediately following hearing about this. So they Caroline, another sister of Booker T, sums it up very, very well as saying that they were like little ants without the queen. Lash recalls that it actually fractured the family somewhat as everybody sought to deal with things in their own way. We have JBL. He pops in to describe how hard things were for Booker's family. He talks, and I don't really know what JBL's relevancy.
I don't know why you popped in that early.
Yeah, I was like, this felt very early to bring JBL in, but to each its own. We see some of like the details on Booker talking about life without his mom. He said he's not in favor of going to school at this time, and he was surrounded by partying, drugs, and watching the gambling and prostitutes that were all around the areas where he shouldn't have been at his age. Still, something clicked in his brain, because while he says he was stuck without any ambition, he knew he didn't want to be where he was. Still, Booker was hard pressed to find a way to get out of the rut, and tells his tale of the incident, which became a repeat incident, where he was working at a Wendy's in town in South Park, Texas, and thought it would be easy to steal from the restaurant. He and his friends did so up to 26 times before getting caught. You see newspaper articles talking about the Wendy's bandits. We eventually hear the story of Booker T saying that he heads off to prison to work on what is essentially a chain gang. We get the great shot of his mugshot, which is probably the most famous mugshot in wrestling history.
Yes,
Cheesing from ear to ear, Booker T, as he is finally arrested after 26 times of robbing from Wendy's. Kelvin, I feel like this was your favorite part of the documentary. What was your thoughts on this portion?
All right, so I thought it was hilarious, because I'm like, all right, why fix something that's broken, right? I already work here. I'm already in a shitty situation. Let me hit these guys. Then you hit him again. And then you hit him again. And you see it keeps on working. So you keep on hitting him and hit him again and hit him again. Dude, by the time they finally caught up with him, he said that his ride in the patrol car from his house downtown was like one of the longest rides that he's had in his life. But
yeah,
when you finally get there and you're like, I mean, yo, you got me finally. It's like it's been 26. I was like, damn, you finally did your job right. Like, so I could feel that smile behind that mugshot almost. Because to me, it's like gold. It's just like okay, you got me. It's like one of those catch me if you can things, and then you catch him, and then you just like. It's like the Kevin Hart, i.e. ass face. Right. You know what I'm saying? You got me. You got me. All right.
I love it.
Yeah, that was great stuff. I love that.
StatKing, what was your thoughts on? I think Booker T pretty much put in basically with this situation the instances of the phrase "going to the well" one too many times.
I mean, to Kelvin's point, I just want to know how the cops, after like the 10th time, weren't like, "What if this is an inside job?"
It took them 16 more times after that to figure it out.
That mugshot is absolutely hilarious. And man, I just 26.
It's quite amazing. I would say it's up there with his five time. 20,
maybe that's where the gimmick and storyline really started from, you know?
Exactly. There you go. We learned something new here.
I really want to know though, how was Wendy's at that time able to stay in business after getting robbed 26 times? Like that must have been a real lit Wendy's. Like that Wendy's must have been bumping.
They were selling so many Frosties. They just will.
They were up on the Frosty stock for sure. He speaks of his son Brandon, now an adult, but he says that he gave birth to Brandon when he was only 17 years old. He arrived as an unplanned birth. By the time he's in jail, he's 21 years old. So getting out of jail didn't mean that Booker was ready to land on his feet through legit means. He actually wanted to work towards getting his son back because his mother wasn't in a position to take care of him either. So Booker stole money from the drug dealer that was supplying for his sister, who was herself selling weed at the time that Booker stayed with her coming out of prison. In this tricky time in Booker's life, Lash, aka Stevie Ray, helped give his younger brother some direction by getting him some work as a security guard directly coming out of jail, which is quite amazing to me. That led to a connection with a man named Bruce Gardish, who has actually appeared in this documentary to relate how he not only helped Booker get some work, but when Lash spoke of going to Ivan Putski's School of Wrestling, Bruce gave Booker the financial aid to go with his brother, which would really be the turning point in Booker's career, Booker's life.
Yep.
We moved through Booker's early wrestling years with some footage of Putski School. I love these home videos. These were great because you could really see his charisma like coming through even from the very beginning. They show Booker as GI Bro in May of 1990. They transitioned from Ivan Putski School. Stevie Ray says it's kind of like going on like the online courses today. They got a certificate that says they are a professional wrestler now. Then they went into Western Wrestling Alliance, which was Ivan Putski's basically wrestling organization that was on TV in the local Texas area before they headed off to Global Wrestling Federation, the GWF, where Eddie Gilbert put Booker and Lash together as a tag team for the first time. Even though he did not know that, because Gilbert asked him, he only wanted to meet Lash at the time that he called them up. But Lash came, of course, with Booker, because like we've established from the early ages, Booker was kind of joined at the hip with Lash, wanted to do things with Lash all the time. So he came with them. Gilbert asks, does his brother work as well? He asked them, have they been a team together? Have they ever teamed together?
Yep.
And they said yes. They said yes immediately. Even though even though they had only teamed against each other, but they would this would be where the ebony experience of Booker T and Stevie Ray was born. So what do you think about the ebony experience as a name, StatKing?
I mean, creative. That's one way to look at it.
It's definitely creativity in its own right. It sounds like a magazine for sure. I think someone said that, one of the talking heads. What was your thoughts on his transition from his early part of his training to be a wrestler and then going into the GWF, Kelvin?
I thought that was, I like that story that you just covered on. His brother held him down. Like, listen, don't worry about this. Just come. Nobody knew nothing. Yeah, we've wrestled before, and now we're the ebony experience. So it's just like all those things just hitting you at one time. I can imagine how he was feeling because he wasn't ready for it. Booker wasn't ready to. He didn't know he was about to land that gig, and Lash is just like, "You ready, right?" And he's like, "I'm ready," and we're the ebony experience, and that's what we're doing. And they ran with it, and they did. It was amazing. They were great.
They had something special from the very beginning. You could kind of see. We got a couple of comments to run through here. We got Rambo saying hi to Adam Pearson, saying hi to True Hill Heat SP3. He says the Booker T doc was very good. So yes, well, we got to move on to their time in the GWF. This is where Booker finally kind of addresses racism within wrestling and being two black brothers coming into the GWF, coming into the Sportatorium. We also get Bruce Pritchard, which was another person where I was like, why are you here? But yes, Bruce Pritchard was here talking about the Sportatorium, kind of similar to his time talking about the ECW arena in the Stone Cold biography, talking about it being a rundown place, that it was historic only because it's been around for a long time. But Booker talks about how the fans there were very much not accustomed to African Americans, and there was a lot of racial slurs thrown at them. But this is where we kind of see the importance of one of Booker T's signature moves, the spinneroonie. We get a small fun diversion into dance history, talking about popping and locking on Soul Train, to the night in GWF that Booker realized how much power the spinneroonie had, as the fans that were throwing racial slurs at them turned over and became fans at them, started cheering them, and this really started the success for the Ebony Experience in the GWF, which eventually gets them a call from Sid Vicious, who says that WCW is interested in them. So they go off to WCW. They're really off and running. I will say that this is not a Harlem Heat documentary, but I really felt like the Harlem Heat portion of this story did deserve some mention of either Sister Sherry or Jacqueline. Although we did see Sister Sherry in the pieces, in the footage that they showed, I just felt like there needed to be a little bit of focus on like the manager's presence and how important that was to the rise of the Harlem Heat. We then talk about, we see like they're coming into WCW, how they came up with their outfits. I thought it was hilarious that it came from a country music group, and they got they got the shirts. They basically tailored them, and they used the sleeves to make the hats.
Yes.
Classic stuff. Classic. Do it yourself. DIY. Absolutely, all the way. We then transition kind of through their whole career. We see highlights of certain stuff like their appearance at Hog Wild 1996 against the Steiner brothers and the very redneck and racist crowd that was there, and Booker and Stevie Ray kind of just going into it, talking trash to them, and getting like the all of them to kind of rev their motorcycles in dismay of the Harlem Heat there. Great stuff. They were just well into their characters. We get a little bit of their promo work and how, and a lot of the talking is talking about how people from Harlem, like myself, were really embraced the Harlem Heat and felt like they were from Harlem. I was a kid at the time, and Harlem Heat was like my favorite tag team because I'm a kid from Harlem. Anytime I was on 110th Street, I used to be like, Mom, this is where Booker T and Stevie Ray are from. And I was on 135th. I love the Harlem Heat. So I love
even though there was no pool hall on the 110th Street.
No, there was no pool hall. There's never been a pool hall.
Never.
But yes, this was great stuff with them mentioning it. We get to one of the most infamous promos in the history of professional wrestling, where Booker T infamously drops the N-word talking about Hulk Hogan. I'm coming for you, nigga. It's brought up. It's quickly moved past. I thought that they should have a little bit more.
Of course they're gonna. It was him, the way he reacted though. As soon as he said it though, if you see his reaction, he automatically knew he fucked up. He was like, and he was just flowing. He was just coming out, and he was just like, oh, damn, did I really just say that? And he, but what I liked about that though, too, to be honest, was the fact the way he was able to come back from that to me, or I guess I don't know, but to me personally, was the fact that he said that was actually the last time he's actually used the word.
Yeah.
So that to me is like, that's pretty cool because shit, I still throw it around every now and then. And sometimes sometimes if I'm at like one of my daughter's like formal get-togethers or something, and I be talking to these people and I be like, yeah, this nigga, and I be like, oh damn, so I mean I guess I get it. But man, more power to him though, because that's strong. That's not easy to do, especially when you grow up where we're from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we hear it, we use it, we hear it, we hear other people using it. So it's just like, and for him to just stop cold turkey, that was literally the first and last time my peers heard me say that word.
That's crazy.
It says a lot about him and being able to learn from that mistake. But yeah, I do agree with you. His reaction makes that promo so infamous.
Like, oh man, like,
damn it. What was your thoughts on the Harlem Heat as a team, StatKing, and their rise through WCW here?
I like that they did dedicate a good bit of time to it. You're right, they could have dedicated more, but like that's a huge part of the story of Booker T. And it just goes back to like that, we keep talking about how did he get in, because Lash was there for him. How did the family get through because the family was there for each other? It just keeps speaking to that, how family was so important to them. And I think that as a team, like they knew going into it what they were going to be up against. And if they didn't, they got a really early education real quick. And from that point on, they knew like, hey, they already hate us. Let's make this work in our favor. Let's make this work so that we're getting paid off of people being mad at us for who we are. And it doesn't get much better than that. So love that about them.
Yes, for a moment here, I do have to bring up some of the other talking heads that we have here. Hulk Hogan. I was very confused with Hulk Hogan. I was like, immediately when I saw him on the screen, I was like, "What are you
Why?
doing here?"
Why are there so
Why?
many talking heads that don't fit? Actually, you know what's hilarious? The fact that when he comes out of prison and they're talking about that one last heist, it's JBL who's asking him about
Yeah,
that.
Like, I
No,
understand
because
they did that show together, but
that's
it's
what it
just
was.
like
Yeah.
it's like, come on, why are you here though? You were not a part of this early portion of his life. Like, I want to hear more from his sisters, more from Stevie Ray. I don't want to hear from JBL. But like the Hulk Hogan one, at first, I was just confused on why are you even here?
Yeah.
And
Especially,
the fact that they included the Hogan spraying the NWO, which I mean has been how many memes?
I know, right?
yes. But then we talk from the whole Harlem Heat run. We talk about him going into his whole singles run. From there, they kind of talk about him meeting Charmel, who was just starting off. We talk about her kind of upbringing, becoming Miss Black America, becoming a dancer, and then she transitions into the world of sports entertainment, starting off as a Nitro girl. The two of them started talking on the set of Ready to Rumble, and this would they basically didn't really talk about Booker's first marriage, although I understand why. But she did appear on WCW programming at the time, so it was kind of strange. But I do like them, covering the Charmel portion, how they met, because that would become such a crucial part of his career for sure. And then this just got really weird in my opinion, because they focused a lot on the Attitude Era for a portion here in the middle, like talk. And I understand this is like building the blocks to the next part of Booker's story, but the Attitude Era portion of this was kind of just strange and just kind of took me out of it a little bit. But they further expand on the singles career of Booker T, how he was viewed as a star, which came off very fraudulent from guys like Hulk Hogan, who was really one of the people that was holding him back at the time that he was on his rise as a singles competitor. And then it brings us to Bash at the Beach 2000, which of course was the night that Booker T won the WCW championship. We hear about all the controversy that led to that, with Hogan and Jeff Jarrett being the scheduled WCW heavyweight championship match. I will give credit. I thought that Sam Roberts, he was another one where I was confused on why are you here, but he did give context to this portion of the story. So I did appreciate his contributions to this episode. But he talks about the whole conflict with the creative control that Hulk Hogan had. I love how Hulk Hogan kind of talks about it like he's an innocent
Wait.
bystander. Like, I had creative control, so he wanted Jarrett to win, but I thought the best decision was for me to be Jeff Jarrett. So we see the scene where the bell rings. Vince Russo tells Jeff Jarrett to lay down. Hogan puts the foot on him. Thankfully, we didn't go too into this where we had to see Vince Russo's promo, even though I would have liked that because that promo is hilarious to go back on. But we then lead into the main event where Vince Russo makes Jeff Jarrett versus Booker T for the WCW championship. A lot of overbooking in this matchup, but Booker hits the bookend for the 1-2-3 to become the WCW heavyweight champion for the first time. He talks about it. He only had 10 minutes to prepare for the biggest moment of his career, but he says that he was ready because he had been preparing for this for pretty much his whole entire life. What was your feelings on them kind of focusing on his WCW world title win here at Bash at the Beach 2000, Kelvin?
I thought that. I was just as surprised as at the time, I was just as surprised as he was, probably just seeing him get thrown into the mix like that at the end. You know what I'm saying? And then seeing Jeff Jarrett just go out, because Jeff Jarrett was so good at storytelling. So him going out there and just laying down on the floor like that, just not giving a shit, just laying down, and Hogan just being like, "What's going on?" and then he's just like, is this really how we're gonna do it? And then you take that title back, and then you see the real main event. I thought, and then for him to actually win it too, it's like I'm saying, like his career, like for that be the way you win your first title, especially after Hogan's been trying to kick it to you, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
to try to bury you, and now you get to slap him back in the face with this, because now you're the real main event, and now you're really the WCW champion. I thought that's pretty good stuff, man. I loved it.
Absolutely. StatKing, what was your thoughts on this portion and Booker T's huge win becoming the WCW heavyweight champion, the first African-American WCW champion since Ron Simmons for 8 years earlier?
Yeah. It just serves as a reminder that you always got to be ready. Because like when he and Lash were talking to the promoter and they're like, "Are you tagged together?" They're like, "Yes, absolutely." He has 10 minutes. He has 10 minutes to find out that he is going to be the world heavyweight champion. It's those are important moments in your life. And Booker was like, you know what? I can do this. I've been put in these kind of situations before in my life. I figured a way out. We can figure this out, and I'm going to be able to do this. And I mean, that's all it takes to have that confidence in yourself. That confidence can get you a lot of places. I mean, clearly.
Clearly, it did for him, for sure. Yes, continue in the live chat, guys. Let us know what your thought about the A&E biography, Booker T. Remember to drop us a like, drop us a heart emoji. If you're watching on Facebook, you could drop us any expression you like, however you felt about the A&E biography, Booker T. But we can continue dropping your thoughts in the live chat because this show, you are a part of it. You are the fourth host here. So please keep it coming in the live chat. But we got to move on. Like I talked about earlier, there was a portion of this where it became an infomercial for how great the WWF's Attitude Era was. Of course, it is a part of the story that, of course, this leads to Vince McMahon purchasing WCW and bringing Booker T into the midst. But the way it was packaged just came off as an unnecessarily self-promotion for the WWF. But this is the WWE for you, so what else do you expect? So we talk about the final WCW Nitro, how Booker T defeats Scott Steiner to become the last WCW US Heavyweight Champion and World Heavyweight Champion, which means that he has a spot waiting for him in WWE. A lot of the top stars they talk about didn't, stayed with their AOL Time Warner deals, but Booker T is asked, are you going to stick around? Are you going to just take the money and sit at home? And he says, no, I'm off to WWE. So
I want to work.
Exactly. I want to put in this work. I've been working all my life for this, so this is a big opportunity for me. So they then highlight Booker's arrival in the WWE, him accidentally injuring Steve Austin with a drop on the announce table. Austin is here, thankfully, to kind of talk about this whole situation, which Austin does acknowledge that wasn't Booker's fault, but it led to a lot of backstage heat. So what did you think? I thought this was an interesting point to kind of talk about. And I think that this kind of tells us why Booker was not used in the best light in the beginning of his WWE career. But what did you think about Austin acknowledging that it wasn't Booker's fault, but how this did lead to a lot of heat on him, Kelvin?
I thought that so that whole situation, like when you first coming in, right? So this is your big debut. You know what I'm saying? And you I know he was telling himself that I have to do this right. I got to do this right. Everything has to be not 99%, not 99.9%. Everything has to be 100%. And he came in and he did it. And just like Austin said, he did what he was supposed to do. And it was actually Austin sweating too much that caused him to bounce off that table and injure himself. So it's like, of course, you want to look at this guy. Oh, this guy just came in he's an op. You want to look at him like, you know what I'm saying? This guy just came in from this other company. He's taking our moneymaker. This guy's the one holding it down for us. And he's just going to come in here and just break 3 bones in his back. What are you thinking? So, of course, he was going to get that heat. But, I mean, once Stone Cold validates it, it's like, you got to respect it. Like he said, mistakes happen. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
I thought that. Still, to this day, I thought it was a pretty decent debut for Booker T to come into that Backlash. What was it? No, King of the Ring.
King of the Ring,
yeah, King of the Ring, and that was. And then a couple of years later, he becomes King Booker. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like
we'll
get there.
Which we will definitely get to. StatKing, what did you think about Booker's debut in the WWF?
I saw a lot of parallels between that, and maybe it's just me. I saw some parallels between that and when the Nexus debuted and Daniel Bryan was choking the guy out with the tie. Like Kelvin's point, like you are there, you got the adrenaline going. you know what you're supposed to do, but sometimes things just get away from you, and you can't always control. Like you're in the moment. And Booker didn't intend to injure Austin. I mean, of course, WWE like management might think that, especially because they're bringing people in and they've only seen these guys on tape. A lot of them, they haven't been able to really work with them or anything like that. So the first night out, he injures the top guy. That's not good. It's not a good look for anybody. But like you can understand why WWE might have overreacted on that one. But I mean, bounce back from it.
Yeah. You could try being Booker T though and getting this spot, right? And then saying to myself, "Oh my God, I fucked it up. Oh my God, how am I gonna do this? How did I do this?"
Especially when you're talking about it, like other people said, "I'm just gonna let my AOL Time Warner contract sit out." Yeah. Booker was like, "I'm gonna go work," and then the first night this happens,
that's rough.
Immediately behind the 8 ball.
Exactly. And then Austin was struggling walking up that ramp too.
Yeah, you could tell he was
like,
really
hurt. Yeah.
We got True Draw Josh in the comments saying, and to add on, that was Hogan's last show at WCW, which is a good point. And Brandon Barnes is enjoying our review here. He says, "I love it," and he probably loved the this biography episode as well. But we continue on with his WWE career, and it really focused on how Booker was one type of character in WCW. He had to be serious a lot. You know, we saw the early Harlem Heat promos, which really transitioned into his type of promos. But when he came over to WWE, he was able to show a different side of himself. We get comments from his sister as well as Charmel about all the movies that he would watch, how he was very much into like kung fu and action movies. But if he wasn't, Charmel says if he wasn't a wrestler, he would definitely be an actor. And then that transitions well into what he would develop in the WWE with a lot of the backstage segments with, of course, Goldust was really like the key partnership for him, which I will say was one of the biggest voids of this whole career retrospective. Is that partnership with Goldust was the catalyst for bringing out that personality of him, because although he was humorous as a heel with the Alliance, and of course The Rock would go on to clown him so much so much in their feud.
That school bus promo.
Yes. Booker T on the school bus. Yes. Great stuff by the Rock going against Booker T, which they really didn't focus on at all. They kind of went all over the place with the early portion, his first couple of years in WWE, but they did talk about him showing his comedic timing and really developing into one of the more versatile performers for WWE in his ability to kind of do the comedy, still be serious, and be entertaining throughout his run. One thing I will say, of course, with these early months, these early years of his WWE career, the one thing that I will say was missing, and I understand they didn't want to bring any lowlights into this documentary, into this biography, but we got to mention here the close call at WrestleMania 19, where Booker T was the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, he would go up against Triple H, and this was really the first time that any fans heard about Booker T's early portion of his life, being arrested, being, the robberies, going to jail. And it was in this rivalry where they were kind of building up his sympathy, making him a top babyface to go against Triple H. Triple H kind of having borderline racist promos against Booker T, saying people like you can never be WWE World Heavyweight Champion. You're just here to dance around for me and hold my bags. The scene in the backstage area where Triple H says that Booker is handing him a towel so he can like clean himself off, like he's a service boy. And then eventually we get to WrestleMania 19, where Booker is hit with the pedigree, and Triple H takes 23 seconds, should have been 26 to match his Wendy's, but 23 seconds to pin Booker T after the pedigree. Are you okay with them leaving out this really black eye on his run in WWE? StatKing?
Absolutely not. This is something, I completely understand why they did it, from both you don't necessarily want to cover every black spot, but also from we're going to protect management because we know who's in management now. But this was something that definitely needed to be talked about, and I can't understand even to this day why Booker is willing to defend the decision that was made by WWE back then. I mean, I get it. Like his perspective is, I'm in this. Like I love what I do, but I'm also in this for the money, and I got paid. So like, why would I be that upset about it? But at the same time, he also understands what it meant when Kofi Kingston beat Daniel Bryan. And he talked about that when Kofi won. So he has to be able to, at least in his heart, understand what it meant when Triple H was saying those things and Ric Flair was saying those, and they were getting away with it. And then at the match itself to lose, and not just lose, but to lose in that fashion. Like say what you want about Hunter as like Hunter could have just pinned, like easily just covered him. Like that was a choice. That was a full-blown choice. And I don't know, man. That doesn't sit well with me why Booker doesn't at least say something about it.
Very true. Kelvin, what was your thoughts on this noticeable hole in Booker T's career? Because this was really his biggest match in the early, like if you could say probably The Rock at SummerSlam 2001 and then Triple H at WrestleMania 19 are the two biggest matches that he has before the successful King Booker run.
To be honest, like I said again, this is somebody who's also coming from a different company. So it's like you don't want to also shit on one of your guys who's been holding it down for you and just make this guy just come right in and just take his belt. So in a way, I kind of get it, because to be in Booker T's shoes right at that moment in his career where he was at, to be in his shoes and to even say that you main evented a WrestleMania with Triple H. That in itself is like, to him, maybe at that time was probably just like, I'm good with this alone. Like, this is what's going to be getting. And like when he was sitting down with Teddy Long, when he sat down with him and he told Teddy, I think, this is probably in the episode after. This is probably in the Treasures episode. But he told him, I thank what you did for us because, you know what I'm saying? Guys like you were the one who paved the way for guys like me. And then guys like him are the ones who paved the way for guys like Kofi Kingston to be able to, you know what I'm saying, main event, win that spot. But I mean, I guess I wasn't really against. I think maybe also I was a huge Triple H fan too. So I wasn't really against him losing, but I can also understand or can see why he should have won that match.
Yeah, I just think it's the way you Booker, talking down to Booker T, saying people like you shouldn't be the world heavyweight champion, and then to wait 23 seconds before you pin him with the pedigree,
but that was also at the time that Vince McMahon was walking around wearing do-rags and shit, and he was saying what he was saying. That's so it's like at this time it was stuff like that. At this time, Vince just didn't give a shit about. He just did not care. Like now, he's probably getting softened up by other people who are working with him now. Like Triple H was like, Vince, we got a huge BLM motion going on now. We need to do something with. We cannot keep. We got a bunch of fans complaining that who are our black WWE champions. And so Vince was like, oh, whatever, just do it. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it's like, fine. And that's how I always see Vince when he comes to like Bobby Lashley now just winning the title. You know what I'm saying? He's like, okay, let's just give it to him. That's because, you know what I'm saying? So at that time,
good promotion.
Exactly. At that time, it was just like, he didn't give a shit. He was doing what he wanted to do, and that was it. So it's different times, man.
That is true. We also got a little bit of feedback from Austin talking about the famous supermarket brawl with Booker T on SmackDown, which is probably top 10 moments in SmackDown history. And the fact that, you know, we learned from Austin that they were just told to have a brawl in a supermarket, and all of that came from their brains, and it was all about Austin doing the action and Booker T reacting, and
selling it. Yeah,
it's
it
awesome.
was marvelous. It was one of the best brawls I've ever seen. It's like straight ask. It was so entertaining. It had the comedy. It had the action. I had the superstars. Everybody was trying to see what Stone Cold was doing. Everybody wanted to see what Booker T was doing. Everybody wanted to see what their feud, where was it gonna go and what was gonna happen next. And my favorite part is when Stone Cold comes out of the fridge drinking the milk, and I think all of that shit is just genius. And then he puts him on the belt. It's like price check on a jackass.
Price check on a jackass.
Everything about that was gold, man.
Brilliant stuff from the mind of these two men. So it shows you how great those two guys are. And then we transition into Sharmell and Booker finally getting married in February of 2005, and how at this point in Booker's career, he kind of wanted to slow things down and wanted to take time off the road to not be away from Sharmell, which I think they didn't really talk about more in depth, that Booker was the one that lobbied for Sharmell to kind of be on the road with him. And this was prior to the whole King Booker storyline and gimmick. He had her on the road immediately after, like 2005, during the feud with Kurt Angle after WrestleMania. That's when Sharmell was kind of introduced as a character. They didn't also mention that probably because of Kurt Angle's bestiality promos. I don't know if you guys remember that, where he said that he wants to have like bestiality sex with Sharmell. I don't think that would have been good to mention. So I understand why they left that part out. But yes, the following year, Booker wins the King of the Ring, and then he develops what would become his probably his best character yet, and that is King Booker with Queen Sharmell. And we hear everyone talking about how hilarious this was and how this was a real evolution of Booker, everything that he's learned as a character, from being the very serious in the Harlem Heat with a pot of neck bone sucker to the more hilarious, to the more comedy centric Booker T that we would see with Goldust, and now the full evolution coming with King Booker, and how this was the peak of his WWE run because they were so confident in him. They gave him the King of the Ring, and then he eventually defeated Rey Mysterio at the Great American Bash 2006 to become the World Heavyweight Champion. What was your overall thoughts on the King Booker run of our Hall of Famer here, StatKing?
I loved it. That was just like, and building that cabinet and everything. Ooh,
yes.
Like just that I'm not cabinet, but having
the court, King's
Court. That was it.
King's Court.
JBL again. JBL popping up where he's not needed. But this was a really well done angle and storyline that they did with Booker, and just allowing him the creativity, allowing him the space to do that. Like, I guess maybe, yeah, like you got to be with a company for a while, let them trust you, let them build with you, and then they can be like, go for it. And I'm pretty sure that they were willing to trust him because of everything that happened during that supermarket fight with Steve, which actually, if you think about it, goes back to the way he made his debut. His debut accidentally injures Steve. Later, they do that supermarket. It's such a great segment, such a great moment that down the road they're like, we can fully trust him. And I guess it takes that long amount of time, but once he had the ball, once they gave him all of that, he was able to run with it and do amazing work with it.
He definitely had a very successful run as King Booker. Where would you rank this in his entire career as far as runs, Kelvin?
I could put it right on at number 2. To me, my favorite Booker was when he was with his brother. When they was Harlem Heat, that was my favorite Booker T. He was just so raw. They were raw. They were the Attitude Era before it was an Attitude Era. They were raw. I love that. So I would put the King Booker run right underneath that one. But I hated the fucking Sharmell aspect.
Why?
I hated Sharmell with a with a passion. I did not want to see her. I wanted her to get pedigreed. I wanted her to get Sweet Chin Music. I wanted her to get Stone Cold Stunner. I wanted her to eat a rock bottom, a tombstone pile driver. I wanted her to get. I could not stand her. Like even seeing her yesterday on the biography, it was just like, I guess she's off screen now.
Booker's out here trying to be a good family man, and Kelvin's like, no,
I
hate
her. I mean, but then, then when you think about it, you're like, man, she was doing a great job, because to get me to hate her that much, she was really in my head. And I'm telling you, I could not stand her. I could not. I hate it when she said, Queen Booker. Oh my God. I could not. King Booker.
All hail King Booker.
I could not. I'm telling you, I'd rather hear Ricky Guerrero over Sharmell a million times.
All right, that might be a little strong. That might be a little strong there, bro.
That's a little much. That's a little much, sir. Just want to say that's a little much.
But besides her, him doing the British accent that he acquired to doing, that was good stuff. So I mean, I liked it for him. And then him actually be like they said, him becoming the champion under that run was even more powerful. It was way better for him, because he was able to. He was the head of the table at the time.
Yeah.
So it was so. But I liked it. I liked it right underneath Harlem Heat.
Lovely. Yeah, I would say that's a pretty good analysis and ranking right there. Like I agree. I think the Booker T in the Harlem Heat, then his singles run, and then King Booker is definitely up there. But they kind of went through this pretty fast, talking about the King Booker run. Of course, we're not going to get into Booker leaving WWE and going to TNA. That was kind of washed over as we. That didn't happen. They did the Men in Black pen and they just pressed it. You forget that. And we then transitioned into his Hall of Fame induction in 2013 at Madison Square Garden. He becomes a two-time Hall of Famer, of course, in 2019, going into the Hall of Fame with his brother Stevie Ray as the Harlem Heat. We do see a little bit of his work as an analyst for WWE, his commentating and backstage presence in WWE. We also see his reality of wrestling school, which he opened up with his brother Stevie Ray, and then we go more into his life as a father. And it really that was like the part that was really like joyous and uplifting. That the fact that he lost his father at such a young age, he lost his mother when he was just 13 years old. To be able to have that close knit bond with his two twins that are 8 years old, and I related to that a lot.
I thought about you when I saw that last night.
I related to that a lot because he has a boy and girl twin. One shot, one kill. Make it count. That's what I'm all about. I respect you, Booker. I'm the same way. But we also hear about his son Brandon, his oldest son, 35 years old, who is now in prison, who he kind of was never able to kind of form that relationship with because he was trying to work on his career and would be on the road for such a long time. Brandon stayed with his sister Caroline, but they were never able to create that close-knit bond. And eventually he ran into the same troubles that Booker ran into in his younger life, and that's why he's in prison today. But Booker is hopeful that he learns from this and could come out of prison a better man like Booker did before him. So I think that would bring us to a close on this A&E biography for Booker T. We see that he's very happy in his post career. We didn't see he has a podcast that's very successful as well. We saw all the stuff with RWO, Reality of Wrestling, and how he's trying to help the youth of the wrestling industry. But really, to see how happy Booker is nowadays is very great, because sometimes I will say, on his podcast and as an analyst on WWE, he comes off very bitter. And I thought that was just accredited to the fact that, yes, he is a 6-time world champion, but he was never truly the top guy. And, based on previous A&E biographies, with Stone Cold, they really focused a portion of the documentary on the Austin's retirement match against The Rock and his feud with The Rock. The Piper one, they focused on his match with Bret the Hitman Hart and his feud with Hulk Hogan. With the Macho Man one, they focused on his matchup with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at WrestleMania 3 and his relationship and feud with Hulk Hogan. We didn't get really any of that with Booker T. We didn't get any feuds that were really memorable and such a signature part of his career. And we didn't get any matches that were considered classics that people could focus on. So you can understand if he is a little bit bitter, but you know, this documentary kind of painted him as a person that's very happy with the career that he's had and very happy in the place that he is at. So I think that this was a very great ending to this biography episode. But Kelvin, what's your thoughts on the fact that, you know, Booker doesn't have a lot of the things that the previous 3 subjects had in their biography?
I think, like you said too, also a lot of it, or maybe most of it, or some of it, had something to do with the fact that he did leave for TNA. So maybe that's just another way of Vince trying to stick it. You know what I'm saying? Just yeah. But when you look at Booker T, right? A lot of people know the name. A lot of people knows the Spinneroonie. A lot of people knows the catchphrases, but you don't really know his story.
Yeah.
And I think that this gave us a chance to really get inside, because I know he robbed Wendy's 26 times.
I did not know that.
You know, I didn't know that.
I mean, neither did Wendy's, so.
I didn't know that he got into a fight outside of the car wash and his boy Ted pulled out a gun and shot somebody, and somebody else pulled out a shotgun and shot Ted. You know, shout outs to Ted for being a real nigga too. But I didn't know stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know the way his mom's died. You know what I'm saying? That way and at the age that she died. So I think things like that. I mean, if I really want to watch his matches, I could just go on Peacock now, right? Because we got to watch him on Peacock. Sure. But I think that I appreciated that more. This was actually my favorite one so far. This biography was my favorite one so far because I was able to really know who he was and where he came from and how he became. I didn't know he was a security guard. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. It's just, especially just coming after jail. Hey, I'm a security guard now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like stuff like that. I appreciate those details. You know what I'm saying? And I liked it. I thought it was fine. To me, it was fine. It was more informative than I guess it being focused on like his career in ring. It was more or less how he got in the ring and how he was able to stay in the ring and what he did after he left the ring. And of course, the stuff with him in the ring was in there too, but not like you said, where they specified on a certain, beef or thing that
feud or match.
Feud. There you go. Yeah, that he had with someone or somebody. So, I mean, but I thought it was informative. It was cool.
No, I agree with you. This was what I've been seeing overall with the A&E biographies. They're not too much detailed on the careers. They're trying to make you get to know the individuals behind the characters. And I think that this one did the best job of telling the complete story of Booker T and the man that he shaped up to be today. Yeah. StatKing, what was your thoughts on basically this one being different from the previous A&E biographies?
I like that aspect about it, and they are kind of hindered. I mean, it's difficult for them, especially because WWE is working with A&E to produce these. It's a little difficult to get somebody like Goldust. Yeah. And if I remember right, and I may be wrong on this one, his last real feud in WWE was for the Intercontinental title against Cody Rhodes.
Also true.
So you're not going to be able to get him either. So for a sense of like a retirement aspect, that's difficult to get. So with what they knew they had to work with, they said, we're going to focus on the man behind the Booker T that everybody knows, exactly what Kelvin's saying. And in that regard, I mean, they found a lot of nuggets that we would not have otherwise had. And in that sense, it kind of puts this in a better way over the other ones, because you're able to get a different feel for this documentary, and it's something different outside of what it seems as though the trend is for these. So I kind of hope that they while they were making it, they said, this is what we should be trying to do for things down the road. and that's kind of where they're going to go with other ones down the road. There's no harm in focusing on the matches and the feuds and things like that, but at the same time, for people who are watching this, and the majority of people who are watching this, they can probably also get a lot of the in-ring story stuff and the behind the scenes at the time from Bruce Pritchard's podcast, from Bischoff podcast, from even Tony Schiavone, like all that kind of stuff. They want to know more about the actual human being that was doing these matches. So I think that was a good choice. And to me, they were shoehorned into it, but they took what they had and they ran with it.
Yeah, I did think I just wanted to ask you guys because I thought it was interesting, but I do agree that it was something that made it different and made it better than the other A&E biographies. And you could kind of see that this was made by different producers or different directors from the previous ones, just in the way that it was shot and the way that they presented some of like the older footage. But we got a couple of comments that we got to read here. The one and only AK says Triple H would have been perfect in them. I think he's talking about the WrestleMania 19. I presume we got
them. He said in them. I don't know if he's talking about that TV show.
Ooh.
Maybe. Brett Thomas says, good point, SB3, about Mania 19 Triple H match. Yes. But yes, we come to a close on the A&E biography for Booker T. So let's wrap things up. Who was your MVP of the talking heads involved in this A&E biography for Booker T? I am going to say a collective co-MVP for the family of Booker T. For Caroline, Benita, and Stevie Ray, I felt like they were the best contributions to really shape who Booker T was and tell the story in a different way. Like you guys said, a lot of the stuff that we learned that we didn't know before, it came from them. So I would say overall, the co-MVPs go to Booker T's family. Kelvin?
I'm personally going to say Booker T himself because can't nobody really tell your story how you can tell it. Everybody's just gonna say what they know of you, or but you know you know what I'm saying. I do like the fact that he spoke about his sisters, and he said it was a line that he said about one of his sisters had told him that if he ever gets into a fight, make sure you throw the first punch. So I do appreciate their commentary just because hearing that and then hearing them speak, I can see their personalities and being like, I can see why she told him to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate their commentary too. But there's the man telling the story about himself, about his life.
Definitely, Booker was great here, and it was a great way to tell his story, and I do agree he was strong. StatKing, who was your MVP?
I go with the family as well, just because while we are learning a lot about Booker that we didn't already know, we did know a lot about him. So seeing the different perspectives from the people who know him best, I think that just adds a nice little touch to it. So I give them the MVP.
Very fair. LVP, who was the least valuable player of all the talking heads. I think I said it from the very beginning. JBL, what the hell are you doing here? What the hell are you doing here? I understand you did your show with Booker T. You learned a lot about him, but we have his family here. We have Booker here. Why the hell do we need you to tell the early part of his story? It just was a very odd placement here. StatKing, who was your LVP?
I'm going to go with JBL as well. I mean, maybe you could probably say Hunter, but Hunter's not going to admit to anything. So we'll go with JBL.
Yeah, I could also say Hogan, but we kind of needed him for the Bash at the Beach portion. Kelvin,
I'm going to still say Hogan. I'm going to still... We don't need Hogan to tell us shit about nothing no more. We don't need to see Hogan or no more programming. We don't need to see him hosting nothing. We don't need to see. I'm done with Hogan. I don't have to see Hogan no more. Every time I see Hogan, he's gonna be the LVP.
So wait, who do you hate more, Hogan or Sharmell?
Sharmell.
Oh my God! I gotta say, your hatred of Sharmell might be one of my favorite new rivalries in wrestling. It's crazy.
I just couldn't get it. I just could not get behind it. She was just so annoying. She just wasn't for me.
So out of 10, what would you give A&E Biography Booker T, Kelvin?
I would give it a 9. I was gonna give it an 8, but I'll give it a 9. I was gonna give it an 8 because, like you said, like it wasn't like the his rivalries and stuff. I would have loved for them to like do a bookend versus rock bottom little segment in there,
Yeah.
like a more touching more in that SummerSlam match with The Rock, because that was great. But I would give it a 9 just because like also like I said, it was just so informative. And if you would have just gave me both those things, I would have just given you a whole 10. But it was just so informative. It really got into his life, his brother's life. His brother just giving him the blessing to go on a singles career like that it's like I'll give it a 9. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10 from Kelvin. StatKing, out of 10, what did you give it?
I go 8.5. I really enjoyed all the early stories about him when you get to see what kind of person he is and what all the things that shaped him. I think they could have gone. I would have loved a little bit more of the family life aspect. I think for me that would have been a little bit cooler. But still solid work from everybody except for JBL.
Agreed. Yeah, I gave 8 out of 10 for the Austin one. I gave a 8.5 originally for the Piper one. Then I retroactively made it 8 out of 10 because I felt like some stuff was a little bit off. I gave my lowest rating last week for the Macho Man episode. I gave that a 6.5 out of 10, and the 6.5 is literally only for Lanny. And for the new information that we learned. But this one, like I said at the top, I felt like this was the strongest as far as telling a complete story, not really leaving out a lot of the personal stuff. They talked about all of the personal things, and Booker is someone that hasn't been featured a lot on either Dark Side of the Ring or WWE documentaries. So like Kelvin said, we learned a lot in this one. It was very informative and very uplifting and inspiring of his story. So I agree with Kelvin. I give this 9 out of 10, my highest rating yet for the A&E Biography series. But that gives us a close for the A&E Biography Booker T review. Please let us know in the comment section if you're watching this on demand who your MVP, LVP, and out of 10, where do you see it rank A&E Biography Booker T out of all the other biography episodes on the WWE Legends? We got one more comment to read here from Brandon Barnes. He says that he gives it an 8. That is very high for him. He gave a low grade for Macho Man's biography last week, so glad to see that he enjoyed the Booker T episode this week. But we're going to be back live next Monday for the A&E Biography Shawn Michaels review as they talk about the life and career of the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Boy, oh boy, this should be very interesting.
It's going to be a good one.
Very interesting. Should be a good one for sure. Kelvin, thank you so much for joining us on the A&E Biography Booker T review. Please let them know where they can find you on social media and anything else you got going on, sir.
I'm on Instagram. My Instagram is Gotham's Dark Knight. That's Night, N-I-T with a 3 at the end. And my Facebook is Kelvin Klander. You can find me, shoot me messages, add me, whatever. I'm here for you guys.
I think based on the drug use that we're going to talk about next week, I want to invite you back to talk about the A&E Biography Shawn Michaels next Monday, sir, if you're available.
If I'm available, if time works out like it just did today, I'll be more than glad to come back and do some drugs while talking about drugs.
Sounds about right to me. StatKing, where can they find you on social media and the True Hill Heat YouTube channel?
You guys can find me on Facebook and all of our different discussion groups, getting into fun conversations with you guys. You can catch me on Dark Power, covering AEW Dark, Elevation, NWA Power, and you can catch me on Fusion of Honor with my co-host. I mean, talking about the five-time. He's the three-time baby-making champ, Ness, where we cover MLW Fusion and Ring of Honor.
And you can follow me on Twitter at TrueHeelSP3. That is the hub for everything else that I'm doing outside of True Heel Heat on Power 4 TV, Wrestling Daily, Sports Keto Wrestling, everything else in between. I'll be this Friday, I'll be live on the Fightful Wrestling YouTube channel with the boy, the Dong Lord himself, Sean Ross Sapp, as we review SmackDown live following the show. So check me out there. And you can check out everything available from True Heel Heat on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at True Heel Heat. Like I said at the top of this episode, drop us a like if you're watching us on YouTube. Share this with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content right here on True Heel Heat. If you're watching us on Facebook or Twitter, drop us a like, drop us a heart emoji, whatever emotion that this A&E biography for Booker T gave you. Let us know in the expressions. Tag a friend if you want them to watch along for our great review. And we want to thank everyone who watched our A&E biography Booker T review. Join us back next week as we talk about the life and career of Shawn Michaels. So, for the man of 1,004 numbers, the Stat King, for our special guest, Satan's favorite demon and the devil's favorite heel, Kelvin. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. This has been our A&E biography Booker T review. We are signing off until